Hey guys, welcome back to Sports with Mono and Mono. It's December 16th, 2023, and I'm here with my trusty partner Eli. Will be joining us in a minute. So, lots going on in the world of sports. And of course, we normally going to start off with the NFL, which ironically, we start with our monologue. And this week's monologue is sponsored by Coriano Trucking of Summerhill, New York, who we have something notable to mention with him. He's going to be one happy sponsor today. So I think the monologue this week, and it's something we see week after week. It's the officiating in the NFL, and in particular, these instant replays where we, sitting in our living rooms, watch, and it seems pretty clear cut exactly what happened, slow motion, different angles, everything, and yet the referees come back with a different um, decision on what they saw, and it's I don't know what we're supposed to do about this. Either there's a lack of training, all this we have, right? Gene Steratore and Dean Blondino, giving analysis, and even their analysis is different than what the refs see. And again, I'm trying not to be a conspiracy theorist, and the whole FanDuel and the point spreads and all of this kind of stuff. I just hope it's not being compromised. I really find it to be. Um, you, I don't even know that these are professional referees or any kind of certification. I've watched thousands of high school games, and I've never really questioned what decisions they make on the field. But the NFL and these replays, it goes on and on, and it always affects either the outcome of the game or the point spread, and it's not right. So you either have to eliminate this or have some sort of a system where a consensus has to be made, not just by one referee. I know they all get on the phone and they talk about it, but sometimes it's so clear, and the decisions that they make are completely opposite than what us, the NFL football fan, sees, and it's frustrating. It really is. And listen, I would love people to comment. I know this is our earliest show, right? We're doing it at 8 a.m. this morning, so that'll give time for folks to sleep in. But I would love send us an email at sportswithmonoandmono@gmail.com. And because it's something it's a head scratcher to me. We see
Yeah,
it we
it's
see it week after week, Eli, right?
yeah, it's definitely a head scratcher for sure. But it's weird sometimes these calls they make. Some calls are definitely right, other calls definitely wrong, and sometimes you question, well, isn't the rule say this or that? So yeah, you definitely question a lot the decisions that they do make. It's a
Yep.
complicated story. The refs have been complained about all season long. They're the only perfect team in the NFL this season. Nobody will defeat them. So that's one plus if you look at it for them for that angle that nobody's going to beat them. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that you'll see changes come next year. Uh, I don't think any of the gambling has anything to do with it, but I do think that there is something that they feel is different that everybody disagrees on. So it's like a debate party that they have to make a decision to make everybody happy or angry. So that's what it
But
comes down to.
yeah.
It's a
But it's
difficult
frustrating.
decision. It's difficult, but you will see changes next year. Nonetheless, I can guarantee you on that end.
Well, it's just something that's just been going on and on. And again, like I said, I'm trying not to be a conspiracy theorist here that it has anything to do with gambling and so forth. But some things are so clear, and they come out the opposite way. There has to either be a better system, or an elimination of this replay system altogether, because I just don't think it's working. That's just
Yeah,
my thoughts on it.
yeah.
So let's jump in right to the NFL, right?
Mm.
And we got a ton of stuff to talk about, but I guess listen, what has been the biggest story of the week?
Tommy
If
DeVito.
you yeah, Tommy DeVito, right? And if you were to tell somebody 3 weeks ago that Tommy DeVito and Zach Wilson both would have been players of the week, you would have looked at us like we were
You crazy,
absolutely
right?
insane, right?
Yeah, and I never
And
saw it
and
coming
that's
either.
exactly what happened. And listen, this is a feel good story, I guess, altogether. I saw Tommy DeVito play at Don Bosco High School back in 2015, and you know it was a good quarterback. Led his team to a state championship. So he had the skill
You
sets,
had the
right?
experience.
Right. He went to Syracuse, played a couple of seasons there, and then ultimately transferred to. He lost his starting job at Syracuse, transfers to Illinois, goes undrafted, and yet now here he is, like the
He's
most
about to. It
popular.
could possibly make the playoffs. That's how you look at it.
It's not out of the realm of possibility, but there's
Yeah,
just the whole thing that we're seeing with the whole Tommy Cutlets and thing. Good for him. I mean, if he can make some money doing this, that's great.
good.
Um,
And listen,
but I don't,
he's
I don't
not.
think, yeah, I don't think people need to worry about having a quarterback controversy next year with Daniel Jones or Tommy DeVito.
Well, I don't know. Well, here's my two thoughts about this whole situation. Number one, good for him. That he's obviously in this situation, and we don't have like a Josh Dobbs situation where he'll go to a new team, play good for the first two games, then fall apart. I don't see that
Right.
happening with Tommy DeVito. So that is one good thing to start off with. In regards to quarterback conversation, it ultimately depend. It comes down to at this point: do the Giants make the playoffs? And what happens these next to last four games? What is the health status? And what is his numbers compared to Daniel Jones? Where do we look at him? Who do we start next year? That is the ultimate question. Don't be surprised that Tommy DeVito and Daniel Jones both play in the preseason next year. It's a long way to go. And if they're both together, don't be surprised that that is a possibility because you want to see who is the better quarterback heading into the regular season of next year. I know it's a long way to go. You're thinking this is crazy for me to say that, but this is how you
Yep.
have to look at it from this perspective.
Yeah, and then you got to take into account, Brian Dable, right? He's
Right.
I think we are in great shape with him as a coach. Um,
100%. You have a great
a
coach now.
lot a lot of people were questioning that he didn't let this kid throw in the first game against the Jets and so forth in a game that they just
Let
snatched
go.
defeat out of the jaws of victory, the old saying, right?
Yes.
But I think Brian Dable is a great offensive mind, and he's
Absolutely.
developed a system. Excuse me, there's a lot of colds going
No problem.
around. But Dable is an offensive guy, and he's figured out how to make this kid. And listen, you got to give credit to DeVito. He's made some outstanding passes,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. He's
I
made good
mean,
passes.
yeah, made great passes.
And then you got the Sage coming in there. He's also stealing the show, gets the Italian Sports Hall of Fame. What the heck is this going on? But yeah, it's a
Yeah, I
story. He
know.
is. It's a
I
story.
mean, we're gonna have to tolerate this whole Sopranos, Goodfellas, casino reference to the agent and so forth. Or it's just inevitable, right? It's a Jersey thing, and forget about it. And Tommy
Yeah. The
Cutlets,
Jersey thing. Yeah.
it's not gonna go away. But you know
No.
what? It is
Let
kind of
it
a
be.
it's kind of a good story. And then on the opposite side, you have Zach Wilson, who was given a second chance, and
It
as
paid.
you guys know, I was all on board with the Jets selecting him, and I just think he's been mismanaged by Robert Saleh. I still think he's got a lot of talent. Had a great game last week, so you
Well,
know,
I'll
don't
be
write
honest
him
with you.
off. You could probably write him off, obviously, in New York, but if he can continue to show that he's got some arm strength, he's got mobility. He has to learn how to play the position a little better, and I don't think he's had that opportunity with the Jets.
I'll be
But
honest though, when it comes to Zach Wilson, I honestly did not think he would win yesterday against the Texans last week. I think because of the rain, with CJ Stroud leaving early, I think that all factored in for the Jets' victory to success. I think for
it
some
did.
reason they played better in the rain, but I don't know.
Yep.
I don't still trust him enough. I know he's a great quarterback. He could still do good things. Trust me. The Jets have the Dolphins this weekend. He could still do something good in Miami, but I just don't know how much I could fully trust him heading into the rest of the season.
Right. And that's a team we just mentioned, Miami. So we're going to look at kind of the overall, landscape of where we are right now, right, with 4 weeks left in the season, you know, you have, listen, I think you and I talked a little bit before the show about the NFC, right? The
Right.
NFC is kind of
Open.
competitive compared to the AFC. You have San Francisco, you have Philadelphia, and you have Dallas, right? I don't think there's anybody
No.
else that we need to worry about from a contention perspective, but those three teams. So, that's kind of wide open right there. And I guess you brought it up, Eli, in the beginning that, yeah, the AFC is very competitive, but almost at a mediocre level outside of the Baltimore Ravens, who have the best record in the AFC. There's a lot of other teams hovering
Right.
around 6-7, 7-6, still in the picture,
They're still in the
right?
picture. Right.
And Miami was, unstoppable for the early part of the season. But as you know, we talked about it. Miami hasn't beaten anybody with a better than
Over
500,
500. Right.
right? So,
So that's the
you know,
question.
are you believers in Tua? Are you believers? You know,
No, I don't think I am. I know you should trust Tua. You should trust everybody. I don't know how much I can trust him. I don't think he will go far.
yep. So let's think of the other teams, right? Baltimore, I guess, you got to give them the nod. I mean,
The
although I
Ravens, I
wouldn't,
think they won the North already. I think
yeah,
that's easy to say. They have the
right,
Jaguars this week, and if they win, I believe they clinch a playoff spot. So that is done with and over with. I believe the
right,
teams that could clinch a playoff spot is this weekend is the Ravens, Cowboys, Lions, and Eagles. And the 49ers can win the NFC West this weekend with a win.
yeah. So
So yeah,
who are the other players we think in the AFC? Listen, I've been a Buffalo Bills believer. I still
right?
believe Josh Allen. Um, yes, he's had some rough patches, but
Yes, he
listen,
did.
Diggs has dropped some big balls for him, and
Right.
they missed that pass, and
Now,
to beat them.
do you think the whole
Go ahead.
Russell Wilson and Denver Broncos possibly winning the West is a possibility? If you
Well,
look
you
at
know
the Chiefs,
something,
look at the
I got it. I
Broncos.
tell you, this is a great story because the way that they
Yeah,
started. And after
they
what
start
Sean
horrible.
Payton came out saying, this was the worst, last year was the worst coaching job he's ever seen. And now they bounce back. So now they're in the mix of things. He's a smart coach. And he's figured out what Zach Wilson and the team around him are capable of and not capable of. So yes, they're still in the mix. And I gotta give kudos to Sean Payton for that.
And honestly, if the Chiefs continue to play bad like they are, and if they lose tomorrow to the Patriots for whatever reason, then I would say the Broncos have officially won the AFC West. And there should be no question to ask because they have three
Mm-hmm.
games left, the Chiefs and the Broncos, after this weekend 16, 17, 18, yeah, three games. If they lose
Right.
to the Patriots, I think that gives you the win to the Broncos because now they're one game ahead of the Chiefs.
What are the Broncos though? They're 6-7,
I believe
sub
so.
500, right? Six and
Yes.
seven. I mean, and this is what we were talking about before, like parity in this league. These are
Right.
teams that are there's no runaway team in the
No.
AFC. It's crazy.
Yeah, and the Vikings are going to start, by the way, Nick Mullins instead of Josh Dobbs this weekend. Smart decision, obviously. He did not have a good start, but this is reality. He had a great few games, Josh Dobbs, but now his run ended. Now they'll go back to Nick Mullins for this Sunday's game. Or yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sorry,
So
today's game, Saturday. It's not Sunday. There's three
yeah,
games today, by the way. All of them on NFL Network starting at 1 o'clock.
yeah. So we're back on the end of year Saturday slate for the NFL, and I
Yeah,
know what the reason that they do it is because college football
football
is kind
ended.
of in between. Then
Right. It's in the bowl
outside of
game
the
section.
exactly until that picks up,
Yeah.
which are January 1st, right? The first two games,
Yeah, Rose
Alabama,
Bowl, Beach Bowl, and then
Michigan.
yep.
Yep.
Let me add some quick notes before we go to the picks, real quick.
Yep.
Texans are listing QB CJ Stroud as doubtful for this Sunday's game. Nico Collins as questionable.
Yep.
Chargers last night fired their defensive run coordinator and the defensive line coordinator, Coach Jay Rogers. They also fired the head coach, Brandon Stanley, and GM Tom Telesco. The reason why they also lost to the Raiders, 36-21 is the final. Highest scoring Game
63 to
3
21.
321. That was a fine. There you go.
Yeah.
It was a high scoring
I
game.
mean, listen, you could tell, and I knew that after I saw the final score. I said, Brendan Staley will be fired by 12 o'clock the following day, and
Yes.
he just didn't handle himself well.
No.
I mean, he's every press conference was kind of belligerent, and nobody, the fan base doesn't need that. Yes, they lost Justin Herbert for the season, but guess what? They weren't winning
Doesn't
with
matter.
Justin Herbert, so somebody had to take the fall for that, and it's definitely him.
And by the way, the Broncos are 7-6. Chiefs are currently 8-5. So it will come down to tomorrow who ultimately takes first place.
Oh, okay,
Meanwhile,
7-6. Right.
Meanwhile, Al Michaels will not call the Super Wild Card weekend games. Instead, NBC's number one college team of Noah Eagle and Todd Blackledge will call the first ever exclusive game for the wild card round, and Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth will call two games. Two games will be on NBC, one on
Yeah.
Peacock, one on Fox, one CBS, and one ABC. SoFi Stadium is now picked to host Super Bowl in the 2027, and that has now been confirmed. And
Yeah.
finally, the NFL is expected to host a regular season game in Brazil on top of already Mexico, Germany, and England. So you'll be in
Yeah.
Brazil, Mexico, Germany, England. And now they're questioning, well, maybe let's have every team play at 8 o'clock in the morning somewhere international. So that is the possibilities
Well,
up.
what they are doing is they're going from I think it was a 4-game international schedule
Right. So
to
now
an
5.
8-game
Yep.
schedule. So, and yes, I was going to bring that up in a random point about Al Michaels, but he's been getting a lot of criticism. He's 79 years old. He's had a great
That's
run.
number one.
Right. I mean, obviously nobody could ever forget the Miracle on Ice 1980 call. That kind of
Yeah.
certainly put him on the map. But he's been a pro the whole time. But a lot of criticism about Al Michaels that he really wasn't as enthusiastic as it was, and very bland in his broadcast. Didn't seem to do his research anymore. So that wasn't really a big surprise. So um, yeah, he's out for the playoffs for
Right.
NBC. You're right. All right, Eli. Let's talk
Let's make
about
the
our
picks.
NFL picks. Right.
Yep.
Last
Here we go.
week, you and I were both 2-1.
1-1.
What did we both lose on?
Eagles.
Yes.
We both picked Fly Eagles Fly. They lost to the Cowboys
Yeah.
pretty bad too.
Yeah, and we
Yeah.
both crashed and crashed. That's right.
Yeah.
Dallas
So
blew them out.
make the
Um,
picks.
all right, so we got 3 games this week. First game, Pittsburgh at Indianapolis, and
That's today,
I
by
don't
the way,
know.
on NFL Network.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on Indianapolis? Because I don't see
I
them.
know. Sorry, Jack. I'm gonna have to say the honest truth. Wishy-washy teams. I'm gonna put it like that because they
Yeah,
could win some games, lose some games. They could win against good teams, lose against good teams, win against bad teams, lose against bad teams. They're one
yeah,
of those teams where it's like, how much can you trust them? And the South is open. You have the Jaguars, and then if CJ Stroud becomes healthy by next week, and if the Texans win tomorrow, that opens up the Texans. And then you have the Titans in 4th place. So you have to open up that division. That division's loaded still. The South. You have the Texans, the Dolphins, the Colts, Jaguars, and Titans. That's an open division.
Mhm.
In regards to the pick, however, I'm taking the Colts 26-23 because I don't know how much I can trust the Steelers in
Well,
tomorrow's game. So I'll take the Colts.
all right. Well, you're absolutely right on this. I've been a supporter of Kenny Pickett, and he's just not playing at a level that Mike Tomlin expects. Yeah, that's a team that their offense is just almost non-existent. And as much as I don't think Gardner Minshew is a number one quarterback for an NFL team, has good moments, has bad moments. I'm going to go with Indianapolis on this. So
Yeah.
we see eye to eye on that one. Second game, though, Denver, Detroit, like you said. And here begs the question, right?
Yeah.
Detroit got off to this great start. They were 9-3 at one point, and I don't know. Sometimes they don't seem to be the team we think they are. Nobody disputes Dan Campbell's passion. It's awesome. But Jared Goff can look great, and sometimes he makes some
Right.
obvious mistakes. And but I'm going to go with them. And listen, I'm a Sean Payton guy, and you and I were talking about it before the show about Denver and this resurgence, which is totally miraculous. Shows that Russell Wilson is not exactly done yet, but he's following the letter of the law by Sean Payton. But I think Detroit needs to bounce back. They're at home. I'm going to go with the Lions.
In that pick, I don't know how much I can trust the Lions. The Lions have lost a lot of past few games already. The Lions do not look like they're in it. And this Denver Broncos team is a whole nother team, and they're looking good once more. So in that case, I'm going to take the Denver Broncos 28-20, and they're home in Denver. No, sorry, Detroit's home. I'm aware of that, but it doesn't matter. I still feel Denver is going to take the victory here, 28-20. That game's also today on NFL Network.
Okay. So our final game, and again, some people say we don't pick tough games, but I think this is a tough game to pick. You got Dallas at Buffalo, and as you know, I've kind of been all in on Buffalo. They let you down every now and then. Stephon
Right.
Diggs hasn't been exactly catching every pass that's been thrown to him, but I like and Dallas has been on a roll. But I think they're going on the road in Buffalo. I'm going to take the Bills in the upset. I don't even know. Actually, I don't even know who. If it's
Buffalo's in favor by 2, so I don't think that's an upset.
all right, so I'm going to go with Buffalo.
Same end with me. I'm taking Buffalo. I don't like Dallas in Buffalo, so I'm going to take Buffalo 28-26.
Yep, good. Hey Eli, one last quick thing. So
Yep.
on the NFL, the conversation always comes up: who's going to be the MVP? So the candidates that I see, or I guess Tyreek Hill, if he's going to stay healthy, gets 2,000 yards, he's got to have
Tyreek
some
Hill.
consideration.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott's having a remarkable season. He's got
Yeah.
to be in the conversation.
CJ Stroud, I put in.
Yeah, he'll get rookie of the year for sure, but I don't know about MVP. But Brock
Brock
Purdy,
Purdy. Yeah, I was just going
yep.
to say that. Yeah. It's a
And listen,
candidate.
we can't dismiss though. I mean, Brock Purdy has Christian McCaffrey, who's having quite the season. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know.
There's a lot of
People
candidates
seem
out there.
people seem to overlook when with the MVP discussion about McCaffrey. I don't know. He's got to be up there.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
But right now, if the season ended today, who would you select?
Who would if I select? Honestly, there's no other competition. They're about to clinch the West. The 49ers, Brock Purdy.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. I mean, I think I would actually go with if it ended today, Christian McCaffrey. I
Okay.
some reason I think he's the spark plug on that team. I know they got Samuel who's playing at a different level now, so that's good too. But
Yeah.
all right, so we
Great.
still got 4 more weeks to worry about that. But and we're gonna find out tomorrow about whether the Tommy Cutlets scenario can maintain its winning ways.
They're in New Orleans, and
I
Saints,
know.
not Saints, Jets have the Dolphins in
Yep.
Miami. So, yeah.
Okay, so Eli, let's jump right in. Couple of things that went on in this NBA and this NBA Cup that they had. The in-season tournament is finally over. Um,
Yay.
I never saw any benefit for it, and all it was monetary gain for the players.
Yep.
Um, but it was so insignificant. And guess who wins? LeBron James.
Are we surprised? And guess what?
No,
They're even
I'm
getting a
not.
banner for it. They're even getting a banner for it. I'm surprised they're not even a parade for it. But yeah, they're getting a banner. It's being revealed on Monday.
I don't know. I mean, to me, it didn't generate any more interest in the NBA regular season
The
than
courts were the
in
only thing
years
that came
past.
out good out of the whole deal.
What?
The court designs.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. And I thought they were pretty sharp.
Yeah. I don't know about everything else, but I'd say that was the only positive thing out of the deal.
All right. So listen, couple other things in the NBA, right? Way too early in the season. Really nothing to talk about from a standing wise, except for
No.
the Detroit Pistons losing their 22nd consecutive game last night, and
We're gonna go with a month without winning. I don't even know if
yeah,
I wonder how much the tickets are to go to that game.
I don't know, and
It's got to be cheap. They're on a 22 game losing streak.
right, and last night Wemby and the Spurs upset LeBron and the Lakers to end their slide at was it 18, 19
Yeah,
games,
I think it
something
was
like
18,
that,
19 games, but yeah,
right? But there is one other. There was an incident in this league, and it's something I wanted to bring up and get your thoughts
Draymond
on it
Green
too. It's Draymond Green.
suspended indefinitely.
Listen, I've been watching Draymond Green since he was playing for Tom Izzo at Michigan State. Always knew he was an aggressive player, but he's turned into an absolutely dirty player. That was completely intentional, without question. And I don't know. I think the league has to make a stand on this. I think I could see him at least getting suspended for 20, 25 games,
He's suspended
possibly more.
indefinitely. That's what the
Right.
message is. How long
Right,
we
but
don't
that
know.
that just means they haven't.
I'm
Yeah, they just
I'm
haven't
guessing
assigned a
he'll be back
figure, a
by
number.
January 1st of 2024. That's what be my guess.
I don't know. I think he's got to get more this time. He's an absolute danger to people on that court.
Oh yeah,
And he had the off the court thing with his own teammate Jordan Poole. Um, he's just an angry guy, and he is an effective basketball player, but there is no room in this game for blatantly taking a swing at somebody and hitting them in the face. And I know these guys are big guys anyway, but there's no place in that game for
oh
this. And
yeah. No.
so this is going to be a big decision for Adam Silver, because this could send a message that this will not be tolerated. And
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's anybody in the league that has the reputation like this guy does, but um, this is all part of the decline of the Golden State Warriors, because
Right.
that dynasty is over, and I don't think Draymond Green cares one way or the other whether or not he gets suspended or not. So
Right.
we'll see. But that was something we absolutely needed to bring up. And hey, Jalen Brunson scored 50 points for the Knicks last night. That was pretty
Yeah, it was
good.
a pretty good night for him.
Yeah,
And you also
and
have
that,
Ernie Johnson from TNT made it to Sports Broadcasting Hall of Fame. The entire crew surprised him at the ceremony this week. And Shaq said the most famous line, unsullied by sponsorship since 1989. The famous lines that they say on their post game show for TNT.
right. Interesting though. But you
Yeah.
got to also note that Giannis, who I think is the best player in the game, scored 63, 64 points during the week.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
He's a beast. I that's my pick right now, early in the season, to go all the way, because he seems
Oh
so
yeah.
determined, and his legacy will be complete with multiple, not just one, but they're gonna have to get through Denver, and
Multiple. Yeah.
we'll see.
All right.
Let's go on to the ice.
Okay.
Our Rangers, my Rangers, have had
Your
a little
Rangers.
bit of a skid. They lost 3 out of 4, but they
Yep.
bounced back last night with a 5-1 win over the Anaheim Ducks, and they got a game against Boston tonight. Had a couple of friends of mine went to see your Devils play the other night, and that, what was that, a 2-1
2-1
overtime
victory.
game?
Yep.
Yeah.
Jack Hughes with the winner versus Boston on Wednesday night. The Devils have Columbus tonight, and tomorrow I'll be at the game when they are home to take on the Ducks at 7:00.
Okay, you're going to the game. Good.
Yes,
But this kid Jack Hughes is really starting
special.
to come into his own. Yeah, really
And
is.
we have 8 years, so
Huh?
happy. We have 8 years, so
Oh,
8 years
yeah.
to deal with him for Magic.
Well, he's still relatively young. I bet he's still only like 23 years old
Oh
as it
yeah,
is.
he's
Yeah.
23, I think, something like that.
but that was kind of a storybook ending that he fed his brother for the game winner.
Yeah,
Right?
it's a pretty cool one.
That was cool. So one other thing that came up. Pardon me for the
No problem. You have also
cold here.
the Jonas Brothers. They'll be performing at the 2024 Navy Federal Credit Union Stadium Series at MetLife on February 17th before the Flyers and Devils puck drop at 8 o'clock. They'll be performing for 1 hour. That game's on ABC.
Yep. Okay. Couple other quick things though. We're talking about the Washington Capitals. So the owner,
Yeah.
he owns
Changes
both the
everything.
Wizards and the Capitals. Yeah, he wants to move that team to Virginia. So that's going to be a big loss for Washington D.C.
The markets.
Um,
Yeah.
but that's going to happen because this guy's got the money. He can make it happen. And
Oh, yeah.
Redskins moved out a while. I mean the Commanders. And one other
You also
thing,
have,
Alexander Ovechkin, who's been trying to catch Wayne Gretzky's scoring record, which I said was unattainable. I remember my
yeah.
brother saying he's definitely going to do it, but right now, every year that goes by, he's starting to slow down. He's been in this league
Yeah.
for a long time. I think Wayne Gretzky's record is going to be intact. So.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
And one other quick note, Chris Kreider scored 2 goals last night, moves into
Yes.
third place on the all-time Rangers scoring list behind Rod Gilbert and Jean Rattel.
Yeah. All right. Let me give it some 2 quick notes real quick. Sharks acquired Jack Stunanica from the Canucks for a 2024 6th-round pick and Nick Psychic, a defender. The NHL also announced that there'll be changes to the All-Star Skills Competition, which is in Toronto this year. There'll be 12 All-Stars who will compete for points and 8 skills competitions. This year, the player with the most points will take home a cash prize of $1 million instead of a normal everybody plays style tournament.
Oh, okay. And Eli, what you brought up this last time, what is the Stadium Series schedule
Stadium
coming up?
Series is February 17th and February 18th. February 17th, both games are at MetLife, by the way. 17th is Devils Flyers at 8 o'clock. And the next day at 3 o'clock is Rangers Islanders. Both those
Right.
games are on ABC. But if you go to the game, you're at MetLife Stadium. So, yeah. I'll be
You
at the
know
game
what?
for the Devils went out there. So, you'll see me there.
I think those games have actually sold out. I mean, it's going to be a packed house.
It's going to be sold out. And now that the Jonas Brothers are there, you're going to have other hockey fans not there. So,
Yeah, I don't know. Are they playing before?
yeah, they play 1 hour before.
1 hour before. Okay, so you guys sit in the cold and watch the Jonas Brothers to watch
Yeah.
the Rangers and Islanders. I guess.
No, they're not performing for Rangers Islanders. They're just doing it for
Devils.
Devil opening night.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be
All
at
right,
the
but
opening night for
listen,
Devils.
you and I've talked about this. I think Gary Bettman, they're doing some really good things
Oh yeah,
to broaden the fan base for the NHL, which is something.
oh yeah, it's 100%.
It's awesome. I think it's great.
Let's go to the MLB.
Yes. So just before we talked about it, just before we got off the air last year, last week, that the Shohei Ohtani sweepstakes are over, and the number we anticipated, we were always all talking 400, 500. Well, the actual number became $700 million. And
we have a comment from Guy Coriano. He just said, "Don't go against America's team."
Well,
have to win this
week. As you know, he's a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. But let me just touch on this before we get back to Ohtani. So I was going to save it for random points of interest, but I know Mr. Coriano is listening, so I wanted to give a shout out to his alma mater, Cortland State, wins the Division III National Football Championship for the first time in program history. So, Guy, congratulations. That's big for your alma mater. Congratulations. Yeah. They beat North Central last night for the title, 38-37. It was a great game, and that's a big feather in the cap for one of our sponsors. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, Eli. So as we said, the numbers
They mean
700 million for Otani. And I don't know. Did the Soto trade happen before we went off the air last week? I don't know.
I'm not
We
sure
may
about the
have
Soto.
mentioned it.
No, I think we might have. I think we might
Yeah,
have
I think
mentioned about the Soto, yeah. But I know the Jack Flaherty, he got a 1 year, 14 million contract with the Tigers, and then we have the Shohei Otani as the biggest contract. That was the only two no ones I have for MLB.
yeah, and this is going to set actually a precedent as well because as we know that the contract turns out it's mostly deferred. So basically, he's going to make $2 million a year as a baseball player for the first 8 years, and then he's going to make
The rest when
ridiculous
he
amount of
retires.
money. Yeah.
Yep.
But you know what? This seems to be a little something that um, Rob Manfred's going to have to look at because it seems to be skirting, the payroll tax that teams would have to pay by paying these exorbitant salaries. So don't think we heard the end of this story because it's something that's going to need to be looked at.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that sets up, that sets up the mark now. I mean, not that anybody is going to get $700 million, but the Yankees were all in. They get Soto, gave up a lot to get him. He's here only one more year on a contract. So if they're going to have to pay him, we're going to be looking at again in the area of $400 million for a guy that you know, has a lot of potential. But when you look at his overall numbers, they're not blowing you away like Aaron
No.
Judge numbers, but they're going to have to pay him because we need his left-handed bat in Yankee Stadium. They gave up a lot to get him, so we're going to see where the payroll goes for that one. And yeah, we're going to see Eli. We're going to see free agent signings here and there. There's still some good guys out there like Bellinger and so forth, and don't and the
Don't
Yamamoto
underestimate.
sweepstakes as well,
Right.
right? So I think the Yankees are still in that mix, and
Yeah.
I know Steve Cohen and the Mets certainly would like to steal the spotlight back from the Yankees, put it on there, and get Yamamoto on the Mets, but that remains
Yeah.
to be seen.
All right.
All right, Eli, let's move on to our random
Random
points of
points.
interest, sponsored, of course, by Lynch Toyota, who was up couple of weeks ago. It was Thanksgiving morning. We mentioned about the Manchester road race, which is the oldest run in the United States. Big tradition for him and his family and so forth. So we mentioned it on the show last year. So I wanted to bring that up.
Yep.
So Eli, random points of interest. Couple of quick things here.
Yeah.
As you know this transfer portal in college football is basically it's you can go wherever you want whenever you want. So we saw a lot of guys enter it. Dylan Gabriel left Oklahoma. He's going to replace Bo Nix at Oregon, right? So that gives him an opportunity to go to a powerhouse team who only lost 2 games this year. And actually, I thought Bo Nix had a legitimate claim to win the Heisman Trophy, but when he lost those 2 games to Washington, that went away. But Dylan Gabriel's a good quarterback. Dan Lenning is going to stay at Oregon. They're going to lose their running back, Bucky Irving, who I think is underrated. He's very, very small, but he is quick as a cat.
Yeah.
So, so that's one of the quarterbacks. We know we have a lot of other quarterbacks. So Drake May has declared for the NFL draft.
Yep.
North Carolina quarterback. So when you think about the NFL draft, you think of quarterbacks, you think of Williams,
Right.
you think of May, and you think of Jaden Daniels. So
Right.
who's going to be one, who's going to be two, who's going to be three, we don't
That'll
know.
be right after the Super Bowl, and we'll find out who's going to be where.
Yeah, it comes up in the draft is
April.
in April, and
Right. So
we'll
there'll
we'll
be discussions really open up after the Super Bowl, I think.
yeah, because technically Caleb Williams hasn't even declared for the NFL yet.
Yeah.
He will, of course, he will. I wanted to also bring up, and this is kind of a little personal, hits home for us. one of my from St. Joe's perspective, who we talk about quite often in
Right.
high school football. Audric Estime, running back for Notre Dame by way of St. Joe's, has declared for the NFL draft. And I must say, one of our loyal listeners, Andy Carolyn, sent me um, a picture of the speech that he wrote. It was a heartfelt, genuine, classy goodbye letter to the University of Notre Dame and its fan base, and that was absolutely awesome. So this kid he's a smart kid, and he's going to the NFL. Had a great season for Notre Dame. Wish him all the best.
All right, I got a few quick random points to add in. We talk about women's college sports a lot. Well, the women's college volleyball championship semifinals had a total of 20,000 fans and is the largest crowd in an indoor college volleyball matchup. So congratulations to the NCAA for hosting it. Uh, we also have LSU quarterback Jaden Daniels wins the 2023 Heisman Trophy, as well as he's the Heisman Trophy winner. ESPN College Game Day is going to start their 2024 season in Dublin, Ireland. So they'll be for the Georgia Tech Florida State game. So they'll be in Ireland for opening weekend. And finally, if you lost a bowl, Chicago Bulls or Red Bulls, it was in Newark Penn Station the other day. New Jersey Transit had delays up to 45 minutes. So if you lost a bowl, it's now at an animal sanctuary. So yeah,
they
throw that
did.
funny joke in there.
Yeah, they did find it, and they sent them to an animal shelter. Yeah, right.
So if you lost a bowl, please pick it up.
Very good.
Oh, and also
One other.
one more thing. Shout out to Luke Ashton, who is a boys basketball player, St. Mary's. He reached 1,000 points on Thursday night. He is now at 1,003. The boys have a game today in Glen Rock today, and the girls are home at 10 o'clock, which I'll be in there in less than 30 minutes after the show ends. So I'll be over in Rutherford. So congratulations to him on 1,000 points. He becomes the 16th person in St. Mary history to make it up to the 1,000 point scores. And this is just the beginning for an opening season. Girls have a game tonight. Both teams are right now 1-0 entering today. So good luck to everybody who plays safe for St. Mary's.
Good. I got a couple other ones I didn't get to. So we always talk about how tough hockey players are, right? They take pucks in the face and they go in, get stitched up, and they come right back out on the ice, right? Completely different than the NBA guys. They can't wait to twist an ankle and take 3 weeks off. But there was an interesting event on national TV. Rob Ray, former player for the Buffalo Sabres, now an on ice reporter for the Buffalo Sabres, and he was a real tough guy in his day for Buffalo. There's no question about that. But he took a puck right in the face, and the guy didn't miss a beat. He picks up a towel, is wiping his face, and you want to talk about hockey players are tough. Hockey broadcasters are just as tough.
So yeah,
that
shout out
really,
to him. I think it happened once to the Rangers. One of the announcers from MSG Networks, I believe.
Yeah, I mean the last thing I remember was the guy for the Yankees took the foul ball on his face. Who was the announcer?
It was the
radio.
Yeah.
Radio guy. I can't think of his name.
I'll Google him. Yeah,
it's killing me. I can't remember. Anyway, so that I thought that was pretty cool. And one other thing, and this is nothing to take lightly, because we mentioned this
John
on
Sterling.
the show last.
John Sterling.
Yeah, John Sterling. Right. We mentioned this on the show last week about John Rahm, one of the biggest names in golf, goes to signs on with Live Golf after continuously saying $400 million wouldn't change my life one bit. Well, apparently it did. And now one of his closest friends on the tour and well-liked guy Tony Finau is probably going to join him in LIV Golf. So obviously this is the money is just so staggering. I hate it. I hate the fact that it's taking people away from the weekly tournaments we golf fans watch on a regular basis. Frustrating.
Right.
but that these are some big names, and I don't know. I don't know where this is going. It still hasn't
No.
been completely signed that they're merging, but those are two big names in golf. And,
Oh yeah.
this is becoming an exodus, and I guess you can't take the money. If they offered Eli $400 million to do the Jet games and give up his St. Mary games, I think he would do it.
I think I would. Yeah.
Okay.
All
Hey,
right. Let's go to
so
movies.
yeah, we got our Christmas movie, and I'm going this week with, and it was on for the first time last night, but this is one movie that they run continuously on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, is A Christmas Story. And I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's Peter Billingsley get trying to get his rifle, his toy rifle in the mail. It's a
Yep.
great story, great movie. Seen it 5,000 times, never get sick of it. And they ultimately, believe it or not, a few years back, did a sequel where the young kid is now a parent, and it was actually a pretty good movie. But A Christmas
Yes.
Story is my recommendation for this week, and
Yeah. If you
like
have a
I
lot of
said,
kids, this
it'll
is my
be on
recommendation.
TV.
Young kids, and even I still watch it. Still, Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas is a pretty good one. Once Upon a Christmas, I know the kids always like that. As in, Prep and Landing became a good one. Now it's on Disney Plus. So those are good films.
What was that last one?
Prep and Landing. It's like a little short thing, like 7 minutes long, but it's like a little short
Oh,
Christmas.
okay.
Yeah, that's my recommendation. Yeah.
Yeah. So we give our movies recommendations
And
and
here's the
so
photo
forth.
before we move on to notable things.
Yep. So this is my granddaughter, and that's her right in the middle of the picture with the $1 million smile. It was adorable. It was a video of it, and
Yeah.
but I just this is what the holidays are all about, and
Yeah.
you're at home watching. That's my granddaughter, and she's beautiful. So
Absolutely.
I wanted to bring that up.
Notable
Okay,
passing.
so we got to go to notable passings before we end the
Sign off.
show, and there's a couple here. One, and a lot of people may not know these names. I'm going to bring them up because I know some of my colleagues in my age bracket know who Vic Davalio was. Vic
Yeah.
Davalio played. He's 84, or depending on who you ask, he could have been 87. But he was a longtime player in Major League Baseball, played for the A's, the Dodgers, the Indians, and he was a very good hitter. And I remember him playing for the Dodgers near the end of his career, but he had quite a career.
Yes,
Started
he
out
did.
as a pitcher, became a good hitter. Um, that's notable.
Yeah.
And this one, a lot of people may not recognize the name, but they'll certainly recognize the play. It was the Music City Miracle. This was the one,
Yes.
right?
Music
That,
City.
that goes back, way, way, way back. But he was instrumental in that victory over the Buffalo Bills with that
Yeah.
Hail Mary, crazy kickoff return. He was 52 years old, and he was a fan favorite for the Titans and Oilers kind of thing. But he was only 52 years old, and that was one of the biggest plays in NFL history. He was a part of it, and there was a lot of fan support for him when he passed away at terribly young age, 52. But he's certainly notable, and he was a heck of a tight end in his day
Oh yeah.
um, in Tennessee and so forth. So, and I know that he actually played with somebody that I'm sure. I think he was on that team. Was a Frank Chamberlain, former Boston College
Yeah.
guy. I think he was friends with him too. So, wanted to mention that.
Yes.
So we covered a lot of ground today.
Yes.
There's more and more stuff to come back. The NFL is starting to heat up, and we got the college football playoffs coming up on New Year's Day.
Yep.
So anxious to get that settled in.
Yes, indeed.
Right. So but between now and then, we're going to
More
see
sports
you.
to talk about.
Yeah. Send us an email at sportswithmano@gmail.com. I know you're going to take some flack from your buddy Jack as you went against his Indianapolis
Yeah,
Colts
well,
today, but
he picked against my Seahawks for tomorrow night, for Monday
right,
night. So
right.
payback.
Payback. Yeah. You
All
know
right.
what they say about paybacks, right? Um,
Yeah.
but anyway, we'd love to hear from you. Thanks for joining us on this
Have a good night.
early edition
Yes,
of
morning.
Sports with Mono and Mono, right? Um, but
Yeah.
as far as we know, and Eli's
Show
always in
goes on.
charge. Yeah. So we plan on being back here at normal time, 10 a.m. Next weekend.
Yes.
But thanks for joining us today on this early version, and we thank you for your loyal support time and time again. Eli, good luck to your teams today. Have a good
Thank you.
broadcast,
Have a
and
good
we'll
one.
talk during the week. All right.
All right. Bye bye.
So long, everybody.